Hey, what's up YouTube? Hope y'all been in the gym. Judge Gabranth is getting his FR and BT, and Layle, who is not invalidated by selfie, is also getting a BT+. In this video, before you pull on these event banners, I'm going to review the units and use that information to guide my suggestions. I want to hear what you guys are thinking too though, so go ahead and like the video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment with your plans for the content. Also, you can hit the bell so you don't miss a video. I stream Ranting Hour, and I need to get back to streaming the events. I keep saying that, but I will eventually. But lots of fun live stuff, so don't miss that. And you become a channel member for $1, and I will always reply to your comments. You get special emotes. And again, bi-weekly talk show Ranting Hour, where I have some more fun talking about general stuff relating to the game and general down badness. So let's get started, shall we? Gabranth, what does he do? He does melee attack. Nice typo, idiot. He is a melee attacker and offensive support. He provides instant breaks and re-breaks. He provides strong debuffs and damage mitigation. Brave and HP damage mitigation is very high, and he provides party battery on all of his skills. Very handy. His burst that he's getting, he provides a 20% HP cap on it for a total of 35% if you add up his blue armor, and his normal debuff that he applies after a party member gets attacked, it transforms into something even stronger. The enemies deal 50% less HP damage, they take 30% more, and there's also an attack down of 80%, which is ridiculously strong along with Brave Poison. It's whatever. And it's 8 turns long, so pretty nice effect there. The FR condition, he pairs up with Gao for one of the best animations in the game. You get 30% when you break, and this is on turn only. So if there's a counter unit or like a Paine in the background, the enemy becomes unbroken, and then Paine lances them afterwards, this will not count. So be careful of that. And it's 50% when you attack a debuff target, which pretty much should always be the case when playing with Gabranth, unless they're cleanse happy, which bosses aren't really doing lately, which is something to keep in mind. So if you're really looking to synergize with Gabranth, you probably, if he's not driving it in his BT phase, you want to be very careful to leave enemies open to breaks. But if you want someone specific to drive it, Vayne, Caius is coming up with a couple banners. It's a great pairing with Gabranth. Vayne, Palom, because he can re-break, Zidane, because he can re-break, King, who can re-break, and Zell, who can re-break. All re-breakers there. Otherwise, it's a little trickier to hit this condition consistently. So strengths-wise, Gabranth has fantastic mitigation. He is keeping you from taking damage, brave and HP damage alike. He's got very strong debuffs, and the attack down and the BT based one, he's always breaking, instant or re-breaking with the skill 2, LD, EX, all the like. And he's got great battery all around. Weaknesses though, he's got a tricky FR, because like I mentioned earlier, if you were planning to run an off-turn unit, they might steal breaks for your on-turn to hit the condition, so that might get annoying. His damage is not the greatest. I think he's got max 5 HP attacks on his skills, so he's not the one bringing the pain. No healing, so even if you do take damage, or if they cut through HP damage mitigation, you can't heal with Gabranth. I mean, we have calls and summons, so this isn't as big of a deal, but it is a weakness, and he eats up debuff slots. 2 of them are framed, 2 of them are unframed, but it is still something to consider. Let's move on to Layle. Layle is a magic damage dealer. All of his skills launch with this new rework. His skill 1 guaranteed launch, skill 2 will do it. LD and EX, the upgraded one, they'll all be launching and all battering the party constantly. And his force debuff makes enemies launchable, and his BT buff, excuse me, makes it so enemies are more frequently launchable as well. He's got delay on his skill 2, and he's got turn manipulation where he can move himself around with his LD. So he's a pretty flexible unit, pretty strong. His burst now has a total of 30% HP cap to the party. It gives the party more frequent launches. You get more HP damage refund, and it also adds on 50% brave gains. That's Ishtola, Furion, Camlinot level. Someone else does it, I'm sure, but I have already forgotten. And it lasts 6 turns. So, evaluation-wise, Layle has great damage, and looking at his skills on paper doesn't quite tell the whole story. Because of his LD overhead, he automatically adds everyone in the party onto his attacks that launch, which is everything now, so it's a +2. So he's doing about like 5 to 7 HP attacks on every single button he presses, which is very competitive. He's always launching, and he's got massive battery when he's always launching. So those first 3 points are like all in one together. It's all packaged together. The 30% HP cap up on his BT is great, and he's just a flexible unit all around because he's non-elemental. And but going into weaknesses now, if a boss is launch immune, Layle's cooked. I don't think this happens often, if ever, going forward. I can't remember the last time there was a launch immune boss. So this really is it's in practice a non-issue, but it is a weakness. His BT effect is a little short, especially because he can be a little speedy on his skill too. And launch, just watching those animations over and over and over again is not great. I wanted to touch on the Layle versus selfie thing that's going around in the community, and I say this all the time. When a party member puts an enemy in the air, people get really reductionist for no reason. Layle can pump out damage on his turns and do brave damage, and Selfie can't. Layle is a damage dealer and Selfie's not, so the comparison should end there. So Selfie's having a strong launching debuff existing shouldn't invalidate the likes of Layle, who can do a launch-driven BT phase. And I'll go into this more at the end of the video, but if you're thinking like that, please don't, because it's just wrong. All right, let's keep moving. Paine is getting a C90. She's a physical damage support. I had to say physical and not melee because she does have a little range in her kit. She's got positional buffs and debuffs. What I mean by that is wherever you play, whatever party slot you place her in, you get more party buffs or more enemy debuffs, or a combination of between if you place her in the middle. Check out like Tonberry Troupe or Dissidia Compendium if you want more details on that, because I'm not going to go too in depth, but you know, she's pretty flexible. She's got a strong single debuff. She's got a framed buff that she buffs the party with, and she's got debuff cleanse and enemy buff dispel on her LD. Very nice. She's like an all-rounder almost. So strength wise, she's very flexible. She's got strong buffs and strong debuffs, or she can go really far in one direction or really far in the other direction depending on where you place her. And then the Esna and the dispel, and those last two utilities are viable on her LD call as well. Unfortunately, she did get a slight rework, but it didn't do much for her damage. Like her EX is the damage button now, but her damage isn't the greatest. And with the advent of force being the driving factor behind your damage, and the prevalence of newer BT effects and C90 buffs, her strength and her buffs and debuffs, well, her debuff mitigations are cool, but her buffs aren't as relevant as they once were. So now we're on to Rude, who is also getting a C90. He is a melee offensive support. He provides battery to the party and burst heals, and the way he provides battery is because whenever you heal above, if you're at full HP and you use a heal on somebody, normally it just doesn't do anything. But with Rude's buff, as LD buff active, those heals that are going beyond the cap are going to be converted into Brave. So he ends up being a very potent Brave battery. And this doesn't just apply to Rude healing, it applies to anyone healing in the party. So when you off-turn heals that go over the limit, they'll be converted into Brave as well. He's got party Brave damage reduction. He's got the nice 20% HP cap armor. We'd love to see that. So strengths-wise, Rude's battery and heals are just very, very good. The Brave damage reduction, you'll feel that in the Odin fight. He'll make you take less Brave damage, less likely to broken, all that good stuff. He's got decent damage, it's alright, and he can enable healers. So HP regen can turn into Brave regen and all that cool stuff. Weaknesses wise though, HP damage, I put that because if anyone is taking HP damage, then Rude's overheals pretty much become nothing. So that's a significant nerf to him. But he does heal on all of his buttons, so he'll fix that quickly, but it is a weakness. If you're taking HP poison, for example, that might hurt as well. His party buffs, his support isn't that great. We know the classic Rude has amazing auras beam, but it's still not quite there. He's still that third slot type of character. Moving along, we have two more units to go. We have Sazh, who is a ranged offensive support. He also debuffs attack, defense, and speed down, and he provides party crits and crit damage. He guarantees party crits, and he provides crit damage up, and he's also a battery. Strengths-wise, these are some strong buffs, and he does enable those crits. So if they're unbreakable bosses and you need to crit for some reason, he can do that. He can also get that functionality out of both of his calls, as he has buff start on his stuff, and he's providing constant battery. Weakness wise though, his damage is pretty low. Like I think it's like what, 2 HP attacks on his skills and 5 HP attacks on his EX. That's up every other turn, but it's not the greatest damage, and he's just kind of a bit outdated in general. He needs a better damage tuning pass to kind of justify him in the party. And he's really like speedy on all of his buttons, and you don't want someone with 2 HP attacks on their skills eating up all the turns, especially during force time. So he can become a liability, right? All right. Lastly, we have Steiner, who is a defensive melee support. He has a strong attack down and general damage mitigation with defense up, brave and HP damage taken down. I think he has those. I'm pretty sure he has HP damage taken down. You're taking less damage with Steiner in the party. How about that? He also provides HP regen to the party. And constant party battery, after every single action, the party will regen based on a stat that I can't remember, but it's fat enough to nearly top out everyone's battery. So strengths-wise, that crazy battery can help top things off. So you think about FRs like Ursula, for example, where you want to be at max brave, he can help enable that. Stuff like that. Any battery is needed, he'll help out. And that great defense, so you're probably not going to get messed up with Steiner in the party. And he's also got that delicious 20% HP cap armor. Unfortunately, Steiner's damage is a bit low as well. And if you're not doing enough damage, it's harder to justify defense. He might be a little bit overkill on the defensive properties, honestly, to the point where you might be better just taking a little bit more damage while dealing more damage yourself. So Tights aren't nearly as dangerous to justify Steiner's defensiveness, but he'll keep you safe no matter what. So let's circle back around. Before you pull, this is for people unable to decide, trying to be objective. If you got a character you love to death, I don't care, do what you want. If you're broke, always try to use community resources, forecasts, etc. to think ahead. So I'm gonna give my plans first. Gabranth is just too cool, and I was on the fence because I really don't think his FR is that good. I don't think he's that good in general, but like he's what, Blackbeard, Thorkel from Vinland Saga, what's it called? Iskandar from Fate Zero, man, bro, I gotta get him. He's just too cool. But yeah, I blued him last night, and I think I'm gonna gem him immediately. I'm trying to use my resources. Why miss out on some fun? I already have Paine and Sazh, so this would just be a Gabranth BT and FR chase. On the other banner, I also have everything, so I don't think I'll be maxing Layle. So now let me go on to my recommendation. I have a hard time recommending Gabranth's banner at all. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe try and pick up the Sazh call, but at the same time, if you just have his EX and you need to dip in the crits a little bit, then you could do that. Paine's LD call is also good for crits. Gabranth, his LD call isn't that great anymore because it's only 10% HP damage up, and we have better HP damage up calls at this point. Layle's banner side, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. I'm going to touch a bit more on the Layle selfie thing that I keep seeing on Reddit and Discord. I would implore anyone to try and explain to me how that makes sense when Layle can do 5 to 7 HP attacks per turn in a BT phase, and selfie can't do that. I mean, if you're missing parts, I'm glad I read this comment. If you're missing parts for trying to set up cam shenanigans, like you don't have the launch set up, you don't have reins, or you don't have the ability to justify a selfie friend, Layle's got that consolidation of roles. So Layle will be launching every turn in the BT phase. So at that point, all you need to do is just attach a Kurasame base call or a Cater base call onto him, and you can get the 80% easily. And that could free up a friend slot or a party slot for like Cain or something. So think about it in terms of role consolidation, not just putting enemies in the air. Layle doesn't heal. Layle doesn't provide debuff mitigation. At some point, we have to step back and realize that just comparing one singular thing between units are different, all right? And I think that if you are interested in Layle, you won't be disappointed in him. I wouldn't recommend people hunt for the cam cheese unless they specifically want to, because unless you're struggling with content, you probably don't need it. It is overkill, but it is something to think about. But if Layle does look fun to you, please don't be dissuaded by people not making good comparisons in the community, okay? Otherwise, Rude and Steiner, I don't know if I could recommend them either. So from a meta perspective, overall, I don't think I'd recommend any of them. I think probably the biggest winner out of all of them is going to be Layle, and maybe Paine and Sazh's LD calls. But even then, that's kind of like a not great recommendation. So if you're really on the fence and you're really broke, I don't think I'd gun for either of these, but just don't sleep on Layle. That's probably what I'd come out of this. But that's all I have to say. let me know what you guys think in the comments. A little bit late. Life has been lifing lately. So again, I'll catch you guys later. Good luck on your polls. I'm gonna try and stream Divine Odin. Is today Thursday? Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah. So maybe Friday I'll try that with the JP event. Whatever. I'll figure it out. Y'all will know. All right. Have a good one. Hope y'all hitting the gym. Peace.